Chocolate. But the very word can make us feel guilty. It's a diet no-no, a will breaker, and a reason for many a hasty trip to the gym. But what if I told you that it can actually be pretty good for you? It can, just as long as you make it yourself and you make it raw. And today I'm going to show you a fantastic raw chocolate recipe using just natural ingredients. I love chocolate so much, I can even go for the really bitter dark chocolate. And sometimes I find myself nibbling on these guys, which are the raw cocoa beans. But like raw chili, it's not to everybody's taste. So to take that bitter kick off the chocolate, I'm gonna add a little bit of lacuma powder to my raw chocolate recipe today. Lacuma powder is the dried then ground Peruvian lacuma fruit. It's a natural sweetener, it's low in GI, and it's a high source of fibre, which combined together means that it'll give you a slow release of energy. It's got a beautiful caramel buttery-like taste, which makes it a fantastic sugar alternative in things like smoothies, in cakes, in biscuits, and in ice cream too. So, let's get started. And you're not going to believe how easy this recipe is. 3 ingredients really. First is raw cacao butter, and I finely grate mine to make it easier to melt down at a low temperature. So use a sharp knife to chop that up. That will be 100 grams of cacao butter for this recipe. Next is the cacao powder, 80 grams of that, and 20 grams of Natura's Lacuma powder. First, you need to melt down the raw cacao butter. So once you've chopped it up, place it in a bain-marie. I have a special little device here, but a bowl on top of a pan of hot water will do just fine as well. Make sure you get every crumb in. And the brilliant thing about using raw cocoa or cacao is that you don't have to wash your hands afterwards. Just use it as a moisturiser. You smell like chocolate all day. So let's melt that. And to keep all of the nutrients locked into the cacao butter, make sure that you melt it over a really, really low heat. I usually dip my finger in intermittently just to make sure that it's lukewarm at all times. That should take about 5 to 7 minutes, but don't rush this process because it's better to just let it melt very, very slowly. And this is one of the parts that I really love the most because it makes your whole house smell of chocolate. It's great to invite friends over and all do it together. So once the butter's completely melted, it forms a liquid like this. And then all that's left to do is add the raw cacao powder and the lacuma powder. Give it a good stir. I've turned the heat off now because the boiling water underneath will just keep it at that perfect temperature. So keep stirring all the ingredients together until it forms a rich chocolate sauce. Now I do like my chocolate plenty sweet, so today I'm going to go for a little bit of agave nectar. And also if you're giving this to kids, maybe you want to add a bit of sweetness too. Maybe locally source some honey as well, that really works well with the chocolate. Gives it a squidgy consistency. Taste test, which is always a good bit. One more dash. And once you've mixed all the ingredients together, best to do the next part quite quickly. So grab yourself either a silicone ice cube tray or a plastic ice cube tray. I've gone for heart-shaped because I'm going to make these for someone special. And teaspoon the chocolate sauce into the moulds. And this is a great activity to get your kids involved with. Or get your friends round and have a chocolate making session. And if you're a bit of a fruit and nut fan, how about adding some extras? Some raisins and hazelnuts. Whilst the chocolate's still melted, just stick them in, squidge them down. But just be aware that the more dried fruit that you put in your chocolates, the sweeter they'll be. And once you've filled up the whole tray, just pop it in the fridge to set. In about 2 hours, they'll be done. Et voila! And this is what they turn out like. Solid chunk of chocolate. Perfect as a post-gym snack, great for after dinner, and a treat for the kids. But this one's definitely for me. Oh, a hazelnut centre.